Hi everyone, so before Zhongli's buffs go live on 1.3 tomorrow, I thought I'd first share my thoughts on him as someone who has made him since his release, and I did pull for his full constellation. So, as it was explained by Miho that they intended him to be a support character with his shields and the fact that he has a shield boosting passive and all that, and petrification on his Q, but I do feel that even if they marketed these, the efficiency of fulfilling such functions as a character is still quite limited for him because of the fact that his energy regeneration is very low and you need someone to feed him energy, which kind of defeats the purpose of having him as a support, because you need a support to support your support, which is why would we do that? And so even though his Q has 40 energy, his E by itself will only generate 1 energy per every 2 seconds, which is very low. And also that if you want his shield, you will have to sacrifice the pillar if you don't have Constellation 2. And I think that's really stupid, because why would you lock a vital function of a support character in a Constellation? Why would you lock his healing ability at full Constellation? At least from my perspective as a player, the Constellation should also at least add some offensive capability to a support character. Well, other than the fact that his C4 would increase the radius and the petrification duration of planet befall, there's not really anything more than that. And C1 will just let you pump up more energy, so that's kind of not really the point here. So the buffs propose to increase his melee attack and other damage by a percentage of his HP, which will rescue the fact that you're basically forced to build HP on him regardless of whether you want to build him as a DPS or as a support. And the other thing that they added is that they restored the 20% damage resistance reduction that was present in him during the closed beta test. So it's a good way to at least give him more synergy and increase the party's DPS as opposed to just throwing Petrify and shields. And the last thing that was most important is that his E will no longer make you choose between having to drop the pillar or use the shield, which is the greatest thing, because the fact that no energy versus no protection, both are bad. So, while I appreciate the fact that they did patch up some of his kit, it still doesn't really sit well with me, the fact that, he was supposed to be a support character, but they marketed him as a DPS character, and everyone was looking forward to having a Geo DPS 5-star. For Fire, you have Diluc, Hydro, Tartaglia, and Nemo, you can sort of say Xiao. I mean, he's not released until tomorrow, but he's coming. And for Hydro, Mona has been used very often in damage showcase video as well, and Keting is also doing quite well for, the Electro team build that will focus on energy recharge. For Cryo, we just released Ganyu, who does some damage even though she's not supposed to be like a main DPS or something like that. But for Geo, your only DPS is a 4-star, and I think that's kind of weird. And the fact that they released 2 support, Zhongli and Albedo, back to back. So while I'm glad that they took some measure to buff his general capabilities, I still think that they should give him some DPS capabilities, because he's also an Archon, People like that are supposed to be like super powerful and useful, like Venti, whose Q by itself can deal like over 5k% damage, and for him it's just, let's take a look. I've leveled his talents to quite high as well, and level 11 planet befall is barely matching that of Venti's Q damage, and Venti is able to spam it consistently. So yeah, to sort of illustrate what I wanted to talk about today, I took a video of me soloing the level 90 Golden House domain with Zhongli and with no buffs and no synergy. So let's take a look here. The Golden House is a good fight to illustrate what I want to talk about Zhongli's specialty as a character, because it's a boss fight with a lot of outgoing damage. That means that if you don't have a shielder, you're going to be staggered pretty easily if you're not good at dodging, such as for people who play on mobile or people like me who are just bad at controlling characters. And the other thing is that, well, it shows his disadvantage as a character because his energy regen is very low, and the fact that you cannot use his E to regenerate energy because you're spending it on shields. So you're forced to play him as a melee character if you want to use him as a DPS. And this would be usable if his normal attack percentage were extremely low. I think they're even lower than Xiangling's, which is weird. Like really weird. So because of the low percentage of his normal attack, even if you build him full with physical damage bonus, like on the Goblet and also using the Bolide set to boost his abilities, it's still not going to be as optimal as whether you run a reaction set with Diluc, Sucrose, Mona, and the like. But, you know, sometimes you still just want the reassurance that you're not going to be one-shot and kicked to death immediately. And Zhongli can actually hold himself against bosses, as you can see that, you know, if you attack him enough times with a spear, he will also start to get staggered and it will give you some time to recover. And if you have a Bolide build on him or anything else that will increase his shield strength, then he's able to tank the boss attacks for much longer. And the one advantage that I find the spear weapon has opposed to other weapons is that it's very easy to cancel the combo of the spear characters. Like for example, when I fight with Zhongli, I would cancel at his when he kicks the spear, you can actually dash cancel or jump cancel his attack animation already and start the second chain. It's not as easy to smoothly animation cycle with other characters, so that's why I enjoy playing him despite that his damage is very low. Then if you see that in the whole fight, I'm only able to have enough time or energy to use the meteor once. So you either build him with high recharge and focused on meteor damage, or you build him melee and you have to sacrifice your meteor hit damage for melee damage. So the two viable builds for him are as such. I wouldn't recommend people play the melee build unless you have high constellation, because the high constellation enables your shield upkeep and also helps to preserve the effects of the Bolide artifact set that gives you 40% normal attack damage. So that's my gripe about him, in that the melee alternative build is only accessible if you have high damage, if you have high enough money to get him to higher constellations, or you spend lots of time farming the Bolide domain to get a good Bolide set. And you know, that's just not nice. We don't have time for most players to invest that kind of energy in him, and for someone who is historically important as an Archon, it should be easier to play him and not have to jump through this many hoops. Anyways, I just finished that clear in I think 3 minutes or 3 phases, so we'll see how much time I can cut down when 1.3 arrives. I've also been trying to clear domains as fast as possible using only geo characters. So if you're interested in how I handle the various artifact domains, feel free to check out the other videos on my channel where I try to do speedruns. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again when 1.3 drops and I will post another video about my observations. Thank you!